What is going on, guys? This is Media Guy Doug. This is the Punisher's Paintball YouTube channel, and you are here to see a review, a comparison today between the HK Army Evo Pro, which absolutely took the speed feed market by storm just a couple years ago, and then the new Virtue SF3. So that is the third edition now of some type of Virtue-specific speed feed for your loaders, be it Bunker King, be it Virtue specifically. Pretty sure it also fits the HK Speed. I'm not sure. I'll drop something in here once I verify, but I'm pretty sure that's the same attachment as well. But yeah, guys, so we're going to do a comparison here. I think this is actually going to get pretty interesting because speed feeds, of all things, I feel like can actually cause a bit of debate. So let's get into it. You guys make sure you stick around after the intro. Check out the links in the description because you can get either of these products right there. Alright, so what's the big deal? I mean, for me, first of all, there is a massive cost difference between these two products. HK Army Evo Pro comes in at $54.95 versus the Virtue SF3 comes in at $34.95. So $55 versus $35. Kind of a stark difference when you're already so far under $100. That's pretty significant. So what really is the difference? What are you getting with each product? I have some definite pros for each of them. I have kind of pre-opened these two just to make it a little easier, a little smoother here for the video. So I'm going to get my HK Evo Pro in my hands here. Fully metal construction. I mean, this thing is just a tank. I mean, like, it's not, this is not going anywhere, honestly. And it's got, I think something that is a big draw for these is rather than having to understand how the latch works on the traditional Spire and Bunker King speed feeds, it's just a simple push button, right? So that makes it a lot easier for the average user. There is some finesse. You have to kind of figure it out when it comes to using the more traditional style like this. So understandably, that right there is a huge selling point. Plus, full metal construction, also huge because I've had it happen myself with the acrylic. So that's the SF2 or maybe even the original SF. I can't remember. But the original, or one of the older styles of speed feed was like an acrylic kind of tooth here. They were also spread further apart, so it was more possible to lose paint. This is much closer together. You're not going to lose paint through this unless you somehow break a spring and one of these is just kind of depressed downward like that. But yeah, it is still possible to lose teeth on these. I have seen that, but going to be way more difficult to do even if you get shot in the loader. Probably not going to happen. You'd have to probably get bunkered like very close, multiple shots right in the mouth of the speed feed for that to happen. Just very durable, right? Like very like nothing's gonna happen to this. I do think that the recoil of the springs for these is pretty good, but I think comparably might be a little slow compared to other things just because of the weight. So maybe a stronger spring would help with that. But what are you getting for the $35 that you pay for the new Virtue SF3? For one, you get a spare tooth. I'll look in the packaging here, but to my knowledge, yeah, you do not get a spare tooth in the packaging. So unless there is something that I'm not aware of where you can buy spare teeth, and I'll look into it before I also drop this video, I'm not so sure. Because if you lose a tooth and that is important to you to have your entire speed feed be intact, then you're out $55 to replace it. You know, like that's just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm also pretty sure that this is not toolless. I will try to see here, but I'm pretty sure you got to loosen. Yeah, I'm giving it a tug, and that is not coming out. Versus with these guys, it is toolless, to my understanding. So, I mean, I think that's significantly easier. There you go. I just pulled it out and popped it back in. So toolless, and you get to replace the tooth. $35 plus. It does snap back a lot quicker, so your loader is going to close faster for you. Let me see. Let's examine the gaps here. It is going to be some bigger gappage, so you might have more of a possibility of losing some paint through this, but I mean, I think if you reload like any tournament paintball player, you're not getting all 140 balls from that pod into your loader to begin with, so I don't know. Advantages for this though, definitely cheaper. You can replace a tooth if one does get shot out. I also like that it's got the softer rubber paddles, because for one, I feel like that's harder to break than say the acrylic, right? Still won't be as tough as this, but what they're giving up in hardness of the product, they're giving it in rebound, and it's just, it can take more or just as much of a beating because it's not as rigid of a material. It does have the traditional latching system, but I don't think that's the end of the world for me personally, just as a user of it for a while. I've used these plenty as well. Both are nice. Unarguably, the nicer hinge feature is on this one, but for the fact that I don't have to buy a whole new speed feed, it's easier to replace the fins. It is cheaper overall to get. If you had to replace either one, it is cheaper. I don't know, man. I think that's a pretty solid argument, even just the fact that they give you a spare tooth and it's easier to replace. I also feel that there is something to be said for dumping my paint onto a softer surface as opposed to a harder surface. I feel like these metal fins have more of a chance of breaking your paint, or like partially breaking a ball if it goes in weird, goes in sideways, catches an edge on something. And they did definitely take the time to smooth this out for the most part, but I just feel like this is more likely to possibly somehow malform a ball before or on its way into your loader, which obviously is going to create soup and is not going to be not going to provide a great experience when playing. So my opinions on these, nothing wrong with either one. I do like both. I am partial to cost-effective options, especially ones that come with an easily replaceable backup. You don't have to put in any extra effort to get. I also kind of like that this packaging is a little bit more, you can keep taking it with you. It's a little smaller. It's got a resealable thing up here. Not that you can't click this back shut, but it's just a lot more cumbersome. And since it's, again, so rigid, if something bends it or like kind of snaps it, then you're a little SOL if you want to take this off and put a rain lid on for whatever reason if you're having that kind of weather. Yeah, all right, I'll sum it up. Pros: very tough construction, very easy to open and shut, very user-friendly, durable. Pros: in my opinion, also durable, replaceability, cost for sure, and a little lighter weight as well. Cons: I'll just start right back with here. Not as tough of construction on the overall product. It is, the only metal on here is the screws that I'm seeing in the back and the springs to keep everything moving. And it is a little bit more gapped in here, so you are prone to maybe lose a little bit more paint, but it's also going to be a softer surface for that paint to fall onto. Cons for this thing: it is a little heavier. You do not get replacement teeth, and I am not having a very easy time trying to pull these out, which leads me to believe I'm going to have to unscrew this and actually take more time. That's if I can even get replacement teeth, and as I said, I will look to see. That will add major props if I can get replacement teeth, but that's still going to be an additional cost because it doesn't come in your packaging. So this is the overall more expensive option. There are ways where it is definitely more premium. In my opinion, though, there are some features that make it a little less accessible and a little more annoying to deal with. So I will let you guys do with that information what you choose. I would probably stick with the Virtue SF3. Personally, I like the softer entrance point, and I just like having a spare fin because you never know what's going to happen. But guys, if you enjoyed this video and this review, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a comment. Have you used either of these? I'm curious what your experience has been, or with previous versions as well, as I did with the acrylic crown speed feed. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you taking the time. Use the links in the description to grab either one of these from Punisher's Paintball, and we will see you next time.